Man, the legendary Filthy Frank. Now Joji. I've seen a lot of videos on Instagram. Joji has been saying a lot of Frankish stuff on set, and his fan base is 100% not ready for it. I bet they don't even know who Filthy Frank is. So it's really enjoyable for him to be on stage like, oh, I jerk off my own cock. And everybody's like, what? Anyways, 5 years without 50 Frank, the story behind Joji. Let's go.
It's happening. Here we go.
Mama! Mama! Mama!
September 27th, 2017 will be the final day in which a video will be uploaded to the TV Filthy Frank channel, and would also be the last that we would see of the Filthy Frank character. The tale of Filthy Frank and the mastermind behind it all is a tale that is not one for the faint of heart, but it is one to be told to the curious and to the ones that appreciate art, if you would consider this art.
Excuse me.
It's art that belongs in the Museum of Garbage. It is amazing.
What's your name? Mary. Nice to meet you. Fuck you. You just got pranked, bro.
So who is Filthy Frank? Or what was he would probably be the better question here. Filthy Frank was a character on YouTube that actively existed on the platform.
This is disaster music.
From the years 2011 all the way to 2017. This character was created by George Kusunoki Miller, or George Miller, or as you may now know him better as by his stage name, Joji. Yes, that Joji. The one that is a multi-platinum recording artist, making profound music to his audience of millions and has tens of millions of Spotify monthly listeners. He was the one that came up with and portrayed this Frank character for the better part of a decade. So, going back to the question, who/what was Filthy Frank? Filthy Frank was a character that portrayed the stereotypical YouTube content creator that sat down in front of the camera and talked about whatever was on their mind. But Frank was one that was, well, filthy. This you were able to see right away in his earliest of videos, like
Loser Reads Hater Comments.
Filthy shit, Asians piss me off, and others where he responded to hate comments.
You guys went ape shit on the I Hate Asians video. These were just some of the comments. People were going back and forth, throwing racial slurs at each other, and I loved it. But holy shit, guys, I don't even know where the N-word came from. You guys are more racist than I am.
These videos that you see right here were uploaded onto the channel that is now known as Disaster Music, not the TV Filthy Frank one that many of us are familiar with. Here, I'll explain the channel situations real quick so that we can have a
got copyrighted, demonetized, and he was like, yeah, nah, I was trying to just make something
reference points. So for this video, we're just going to be
Too
mostly
Damn
referring to these three channels right here: Disaster Music, TV Filthy Frank, and Too Damn Filthy. Disaster Music is the one George had been uploading on it as the Frank character for years, until he had to abandon it in 2014 for several reasons that he went into in a video that announced that he was going to be moving on to the channel TV Filthy Frank.
So over the years, naturally a channel like this has taken many hits. A lot of community strikes, a lot of copyright. This channel's received so many blows that it can barely stand on its own feet anymore. So upon finally giving in, TV Filthy Frank has become the main channel.
So with that, he had already then also changed his original Filthy Frank channel name to Disaster Music now, and he would then make TV Filthy Frank his main, and his Too Damn Filthy channel would now be his additional one. So in reference to his now main TV Filthy Frank channel, Too Damn Filthy would be his second one. So original channel, main channel, and second channel now. But before Frank would depart from that original channel, we did see the creation of another well-known character come to life that was also portrayed by George, and that was Pink Guy.
Hey man, don't forget Salamander Man and Dr. Safari. Is it Dr. Safari or Mr. Safari? I don't remember.
Can I have an pussy, please?
And if you're wondering why this character might look familiar to you, it's probably because you've already seen him before.
Yeah, bro. Pink Guy got two or three albums? Got like 2 albums, music videos. Like, bro, Pink Guy is he started Harlem Shake, if y'all probably don't remember that shit, but yeah.
Eventual music that the character will go on to make, where it was some clips of him being a public nuisance.
Break dancing in public.
He was literally in the video that was uploaded to the Filthy Frank / Disaster Music channel that actually started the whole Harlem Shake trend in 2013. Yes, that video and that trend all came from here. So with that going on, George would continue uploading videos on the Disaster Music channel with the Frank and Pink Guy characters, and also have many more be added to the show that he would also portray, like Safari Man, Salamander Man, and Chin Chin. He of course will have other characters portrayed by other people too, like these guys right here, who were known as Prometheus and Red Dick. Keep this scene in mind, as we'll get back to it later on. So as was said, George has kept uploading the regular Filthy Frank videos onto that channel, but it wouldn't just be those commentary-esque or storytime videos, or the public buffoonery type of content that would be uploaded to the channel. George would also have his Frank and Pink Eye characters perform some musical pieces. Now granted, it wasn't 100% from the hard music that was supposed to be taken
There's
seriously,
meme rap.
but it did show that George did have some music.
Honestly, yo, it was like the start of meme rap. Like meme rap, right? Was like the birth because Filthy Guy, Pink Guy and Filthy Frank, Filthy Guy made it famous and popular, and actually just really good. He made really great music.
And lyrical ambition / interest in him.
When I was younger, I used to play with Play-Doh. Now that I'm older, I still play with Play-Doh.
Dang.
Capture me, I will be the toughest rapper actually. Watch me as I drag my ass to the top gradually. Flow so pretty, I would turn around and fuck it. Asian girl screams, that's a Bangkok ruckus.
But as more and more Filthy Frank videos were getting uploaded by George on that original channel, it did start catching up to him, as on May of 2014, he would upload a video titled Filthy Frank Exposes Himself, in which the actual man himself, George Miller, would sit down and talk to his audience in a serious.
And I never understood why everybody hated this video. Like from his fan base, they hated this video and he deleted it. I don't like, the guy is tired and he's having literal health issues from this. And all people could say was, "Oh no, go back to it. What is this shit?" Oh my god, it's honestly disappointing to see that. Like a lot of us hold Frank in super high regards now, and to hear that his old fan base was just a bunch of kids that just didn't understand, like it's honestly frustrating. Even me, when I was watching this back in sophomore year of high school, if I would have saw this video, I would have been either freshman year or it's still in middle school, and I still would have been like, "Oh, okay. I mean, he's tired. I get it." Like, people are so inconsiderate, man.
Manner about himself and his physical and mental health, citing that the stress that he was getting from making videos and being a college student at the same time were getting to him, and then not just stress being the problem, but also having that stress occasionally cause him to have medical issues.
For the first time ever, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I have not been well the last couple months. Long story short, I was born with this, but I was recently diagnosed with a brain condition that ironically it gives me seizures.
George will go on to say that he would just be dialing things back a bit, and that he wanted his audience to know that he himself is actually a real person with his own issues just like anybody else, and to show that he still wanted to continue to entertain his viewers with the Filthy Frank characters and such. He will go on to address them directly in the video in a humorous manner.
Frank, I love you, man, but you're a stressful motherfucker. All you do is you just push and push and push, and that's fine, but to an extent, it affects your health and my health.
And to end off that video, he would also talk about some things that he was looking forward to doing in the near future, some that didn't end up coming to fruition, and some that did take place, like his announcement of the Joji Vlogs channel, which, as you could tell from the name, would be a channel where George would be himself making vlogs. That channel would only see 10 uploads over the course of about 4 months, and it would then have all of his videos be scrubbed from the channel within the year by George himself, for reasons that he eventually addressed a few years later.
I see a lot of Joji Vlogs comments, so can I just address the Joji Vlogs thing and clear things up? I love doing Joji Vlogs, but I just had no time, so unfortunately I did not. I could not continue with it. So
Why'd you delete it though?
I'm sorry.
Come on, dude. Why'd you delete them then?
They're still up. Someone re-uploaded them. They're up there.
Along with the videos
Well, why
being wiped
did
from
you
the Joji
delete them?
Vlogs channel, he also removed the upload of where he was having the serious
I don't
talk.
believe
Only in
that.
that video's
I
case,
don't
he
believe
removed
that.
it almost immediately.
Somebody else uploaded the videos, but why did you delete them? Like, come on, just tell the truth. Like, were people in the comments saying, "Oh, this shit's ass. Go do some Filthy Frank stuff"? Like, if that's the case, just say it. That's what it is. People didn't like it. Okay, fuck them.
After uploading it, theories came out saying that it was because the fan base went harsh on him for breaking the Filthy Frank show illusion and not wanting the real guy himself, George, be a part of it. But this apparent screenshots of his tweets back then have it seem like that he just didn't want his personal life to be mixed into his content in any way, shape, or form. But with all of that happening in the past for the original Filthy Frank / Disaster Music channel, we then got to the video where he promoted the new TV Filthy Frank account that he was now going to be posting on, and things were just as filthy, if not filthier than before. We had the usual occasional
hate.
videos of Frank critiquing and talking
Hater
shit about anyone
comments.
and anything. And he also did plenty of bizarre things, like making cuisine meals out of dead rats from the streets, and also having the Cake trilogy take place. Which, if you don't know what that trilogy series was, it was one where 3 videos were uploaded called Vomit Cake, Hair Cake, and Human Cake. In Vomit Cake, a cake was made with vomit in it before it got baked. In Hair Cake, a cake was made with hair parts from the surrounding people's bodies, mostly from iDubbbz's head. And in Human Cake, a cake was made from various YouTubers' excess fluids and parts of their bodies like piss, body hair, toenails, and more. All of the cakes, as you would assume, would then be eaten by those on camera, and you'll see why I mentioned this trilogy here later on in this video. So with all of this extraordinarily offensive content going on, and gaining an ever-growing audience, it managed to show what the Filthy Frank character and content was all about. As in his YouTube channel bio, it explained all. If you haven't read the bio of the channel yet, here it is. You can pause it and have a good read with it.
Filthy Frank is embodiment of everything a person should not be. Is anti-PC, anti-social, and anti-couth? Well, I don't know what that is. He behaves and reacts excessively to everything expressly to highlight his ridiculousness of racism, misogyny, legalism, injustice, ignorance, and other social blights. He also sets an example to show how easy it is for social media for any zany material to gain traction / followings by simply sharing an unsavory opinion and joking about topics many find offensive. There is no denying that the show is terribly offensive, but this terrible offensiveness is a deliberate and unapologetic parody of the whole social media machine and a reflection of the human microcosm that is that social media is. I'm gonna assume he did that on purpose. That social media is. Or maybe I'm just fucking retarded.
But it basically says that Filthy Frank is the embodiment of what a person in society should not be, and how his portrayal of it all. But one more thing that was intriguing about the channel and the Filthy Frank characters, besides the random jokes and memes, and collaborations with his friends Max Mofo, iDubbbz, and Anything for Views, aka Chad, was that throughout the Filthy Frank channels there was this lore and story behind it, where the characters on the screen had like a storyline going on in the background, alongside the videos that were being produced and uploaded by George on the channels. And hey, remember when I told you to keep that one scene with Red Dick and Prometheus in mind? That scene that you're seeing right there, is what started that whole lore. Without getting too deep into it, back then in the storyline, Red Dick and Pink Eye had a match of rock, paper, scissors, and when Pink Eye won and boasted about it, Red Dick got mad and had Prometheus attack Pink Eye for it, to which then Pink Eye, in a moment of desperation, called out to the Dark Lord Chin Chin to come save him, but Prometheus destroyed him the same way. And then later on, when Filthy Frank was doing a tour of his room, all these characters started showing up in his closet, and then Chin Chin came along, and it led to this whole plot talking about sacrifices and stuff of that nature. And at one point in the story, Chin Chin wanted Pink Eye to be sacrificed, but Frank said no, and Chin Chin, not happy with the denial, sent Filthy Frank to another realm in which it was dubbed the Rice Fields. So with Filthy Frank being banished to the said Rice Fields, how was he able to continue making other videos? Well, that's where this guy steps in. This guy is fake Filthy Frank, an imposter you can say, and you were able to tell if you were looking at the real Frank or the fake one by seeing if you were able to visually see their eyes. The real Filthy Frank, you were able to see his eyes, whether he had on see-through glasses or not, and for the fake Filthy Frank, he always wore sunglasses or something that prevented you from seeing his eyes.
I know your secret. You're not the real Frank.
You're tripping, dog.
You tripping, dog.
That's why you don't want the Peace Lords to find out.
There will be a war.
So as you could probably already tell, this background lore just added much more depth to the Filthy Frank videos, and it made the content that much more engaging for the audience and community. Like, just look at this. There's hour-plus long videos with millions of views out there that document and compile the lore behind the Filthy Frank and Chin Chin saga. That's the kind of engagement that I'm talking about here. Eventually, in the storyline, we will get the real Frank back, and then later on, that's where we saw him on the last video of the channel, but we'll get to that in a bit. For now, it's also important to say that with all of these videos on the TV Filthy Frank channel, George continued to put out music on it as well, mostly as Pink Eye, but he didn't just drop songs as singles. He had also put out 2 albums as the Pink Eye character, one of them being the self-titled Pink Eye album coming out in 2014, and the other one being the more renowned album Pink Season that came out in 2017. And when you take a listen to his projects, you can get a hint of Joji in some of the songs.
I live in a constant state of fear and misery. Do you miss me anymore? But she's so nice, but she's so nice, but she's so nice. But she's so nice, but she's so nice, but she's so nice.
He had then also dropped an EP later on titled Pink
Dumplings.
Season The Prophecy, where it was just like
Dumplings was
remixes of his
good.
music from Pink Season. And this EP was important here because this was under the
88 Rising.
88 Rising record label / mass media company, and this would signify a huge step into what George wanted for himself.
So basically, the songs I just did right now probably gonna get this video copyrighted. Nice.
And his future endeavors. So with all of this music and all
What
of
the
these
hell?
videos and all of the filthiness that George managed to muster
still
up in his
made
run
it
as
to a
Filthy
record
Frank
label.
over those years, it had once again caught up to him in 2017. As behind the scenes, he was now at a crossroads where he had all of this fame and notoriety, but now he
What do? Continue being Filthy Frank on YouTube, likely get banned from the
had
site.
to make a decision as to whether he wanted to continue that Filthy
Do
Frank
music?
character and content in the ever-changing
Quit.
landscape of YouTube. Remember, there was that thing called the Adpocalypse that was in full force that year, of
Yeah.
YouTube aiming to cut down on the edgier type of content on the platform. For George, it was either continue doing YouTube as Filthy Frank under those conditions, and or perhaps water down his content to stay alive on the
Lose the
site, or he
edge.
could take the risk and do something that he was more genuinely passionate about, and
There
take
you
his
go.
music-making talents to the next level and become the artist that he had always wanted to be as Joji.
When
And
you
if
put it
you're
this
watching
way-
this video now, you pretty much know what he picked. On September 27th of 2017, that last TV Filthy Frank video will be uploaded onto the channel 5 years ago.
Some of us want to keep exploring, some of us just want out. This monologue is really deep. 14-year-old white girls go nuts for this kind of shit.
In the video, we continue the Filthy Frank lore, with Frank being in a predicament, and then telling Pink Eye that the Omniverse that they are in is much bigger than everybody thinks, and that basically the whole history of it, and the whole lore of the Frank characters, was written in a book titled Francis of the Filth, that you, the viewers, were now able to purchase from online, for your Frankopedia and entertainment pleasure. Oh, and yeah, he did acknowledge what it looked like from an outside perspective.
Pink Eye, you got it all wrong. It's not like in a sellout way or anything, you know?
He's kinda gay.
From there, the video went on to show just about what Frank was talking about for the book, and then we had our final moments with him.
It's happening! Here we go! Mama! Mama! Mama!
The book was set out to be the conclusion of the Filthy Frank lore as we know it, and the video's accompaniment would also be the last that we would see of Filthy Frank.
Yep.
From there, George will go on to just now fully be known as Joji, and to show that he was being serious, he would certify the move when he went on to drop the 6-track long EP titled In Tongues, just about over a month after the last Filthy Frank video. The November 2017 project saw immediate success as it went on to peak at number 58 on the US
That's
Billboard
good.
200 when
That's
it debuted.
really good.
One of the songs on the EP titled Will He will go on to become certified platinum by the RIAA, and 2 of them will become gold, which were the tracks
Good,
World Star
good.
Money Interlude and Demons. The next big Joji project will come in
Yeah.
the form of his first studio album titled Ballads 1, which came out in October
Number
of 2018.
1.
The Ballads 1 album saw some
Number
great
3, okay.
success
That's
immediately as well,
so
as
close.
it peaked at number 3 on
That's
the US Billboard
amazing.
200, and then
1
also
week?
went on to
Oh,
become a platinum
man.
album.
1
The
week.
project saw some great hits come out of it as well,
Slow
such as Yeah
Dancing
Right,
in
and Slow
the
Dancing in the
Dark.
Dark, well Yeah Right going
2
platinum,
times.
and Slow Dancing in the Dark actually becoming double platinum. Other tracks in the project
Bro, I knew that Joji made it when my mom was listening to Slow Dance in the Dark. I was like, bro, is that Frank? And she's singing along to the words while cleaning. I'm like, she don't even know. Like, my mom saw I used to do crazy videos that were inspired by Filthy Frank a long time ago. Those videos got scrubbed. Maybe you could find like 2 or 3, maybe. I don't know. But long story short, she's seen my videos of me doing crazy stuff. And she's like, I don't understand where you get this from. 3 years later, she's over here listening to the same guy that inspired me to do crazy stuff. Crazy how the world works, huh?
going platinum, and Slow Dancing in the Dark actually becoming double platinum. Other
baby.
tracks in the project that also had gotten certified were Can't Get Over You and Test Drive, which each went on to become gold. And then the next big project that Joji went on to release was his next studio album, Nectar, which came out in September of 2020. And as you might have expected, this album also saw immediate success, as it also peaked at number 3 on the US Billboard 200, and eventually managed to go gold as well in terms of the album. As for the top singles in this one, Nectar gave us 3 gold certified songs, songs, which were Sanctuary, Run, and Give Me Love. Now at the current time, the next Joji project that is due to come out is his third studio album titled Smithereens, and that is set to be released later this year on November 4th, 2022.
Oh, so it's
Two
already
tracks
out.
have been released from the upcoming album as of the making of this video, which are the Yukon Interlude track and the very popular /
34
successful
million.
song Glimpse of Us, which that one went on to peak at number 1 in several different countries outside of the US, and in the US debuted at number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, and eventually later ended up peaking at number 8 on that same board. Along with those accomplishments, the song also had great Spotify success as well.
Number 1 on
peaked
Spotify.
at number 1 domestically in the US and went number 1 globally on the platform as well. And to end off on the music notes, no pun intended, the EP and the 3 subsequent studio albums that all happened and are set to occur were made via / 388 Rising Company. Now along with this transition of now being known as the musical artist Joji and leaving his filthy YouTube personalities behind, George went on to certify this said transition even more by basically going on like these press runs as himself. He's made it onto several popular internet shows like Hot Ones, Sneaker Shopping with Complex, GQ videos, Billboard videos, Genius videos, and he would also even go to the more mainstream outlets like when he made his TV debut on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Along with all this, Joji would also do interviews where of course he would talk about himself, his projects, and his upcoming ones, but he would also sometimes be asked about the Filthy Frank part of his life, which he never really shied away from talking about, like when he spoke about it in this Pigeons and Planes interview.
Do you think you would have done this like focused on Joji earlier if Pink Guy and Filthy Frank didn't take off like they did?
Yeah. I mean, everything was based off trial and error. If something didn't take off, then I'd get the point and move on to the next thing immediately. So I definitely, if the other stuff didn't work out, then I would have gone straight into Joji stuff.
Wow. Well, if the Filthy Frank stuff didn't pop off, I don't really think Joji would have been as big as he is today. Because Pink Season and Pink Guy, those albums, those are like, honestly, they're really test runs. If you think about it, he's still refining his voice, figuring out what's good and what's not. And so when all the shitheads hear it and they're like, wow, this is actually really great music, that's when he's like, okay, this is what they like. This is what I'm gonna do. I mean, we see it. We see the accolades. Platinum, 2 times platinum, platinum, gold, 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 gold. Number 1 on Spotify. We see it. The accolades, they add up. Pink Season was amazing, but let's not act like it wasn't a test run. He was still refining his voice. So I don't think 88, because 88 Rising is, they're a music company, you know? If you don't come out with the accolades or the hits, eventually they're gonna put you on the shelf. Right now, Joji is the star of 88 Rising. It was Keith Ape when he had It G Ma, but Keith Ape ain't been around that much ever since. Like, he's made projects here and there. But you look at 88 Rising, you're looking at Joji. At least from what I know, you're looking at Joji. So if he didn't start with the Filthy Frank stuff, he might not be doing this interview right now. He might have been on the shelf. 88 Rising might have put him on the shelf with somebody else. But yeah, I mean, I understand where he's coming from.
I was doing Joji stuff anyway, always. I just wasn't releasing it publicly.
And once also even talked about it in a Vice interview of how he knew that this transition to Joji was going to be a risk, but that he knew that he had to try it.
Back when I was too afraid to make the transition, it was a genuine concern. I was under the impression that, you know, that was my pinnacle.
It's your peak.
This is my opus. This is my opus. Like, I'm gonna be yelling on the internet, making semi-valid points here and there. You know, I thought that was, like, I was depressed that that was gonna be it.
What did it take for you to get that, I guess, confidence that,
well,
okay, you know.
So did Frank not really love it? I mean, I get it. He's done it for a long time. He was doing YouTube for years, starting from like high school up until college. And he did have his own fan base damn near turn their back on him. Shit, but I mean, there has to be some part of him that misses it, at least a little bit, when it comes to just making video, or maybe not. I mean, he's making way more money now than he ever did on YouTube. These YouTube videos got 53 million views, but they got demonetized. They weren't making nothing. The book sales, that's good, but he wasn't making like anywhere near what he's making now. He's doing amazing. But there's got to be something whenever he's sitting at home, he's laying in bed and he's like, I kind of want to make a video right now. At least, I mean, it has to be like when you make videos and you do it for so long, there's something in there that's like, I want to do, or maybe he just uses the music for the creative outlet instead of making videos.
I want to do this now. Forget what anybody who doubts me says, or forget the own doubt that I have.
I'm worried. There's always that doubt.
That this won't work out?
Yeah. But also at the same time,
but it worked.
At least I tried. You know, that's really what matters to me.
And man, did that work out. But with the final Filthy Frank video already having been released to the public in September of 2017, he confirmed the end of the character's run later that year in December, when on the @FilthyFrank Twitter account, he posted a now deleted tweet where it said that he was done with that comedy as the Frank character and show, and that he felt that the fan base needed an official explanation as to why that was the case, which he summed up into 2 major points, with the first one saying that unfortunately, he no longer enjoyed producing that content, and on the second point saying that he has several serious health concerns, including but not limited to throat tissue damage and neurological conditions. And then he will go on to express his gratitude for the audience that he had garnered and the relationship that he had with them, but that now it was time to move on. With that, he didn't really post anything more on his Filthy Frank social media accounts, as the last thing that he put up was a meme onto his @PapaFrank2 Instagram shitposting account on May of 2018, and we didn't hear anything more out of those accounts since. That was until December 8th, 2019 came along, when the @FilthyFrank Twitter posted a pink eye meme onto the account. A lot of people thought that this could have been a sign of a Filthy Frank and or pink eye comeback, but later on the Papa Franku Instagram account, they had acknowledged that a tweet was posted onto the Filthy Frank Twitter account and said that it was done intentionally to prevent Twitter from deleting the inactive profile, and that they were now going to have a third party engage on the account to prevent it from getting deleted. But from there, then in the middle of 2021, kind of the same thing would happen when on the pink eye Spotify account, some things would get posted on it, being music from the older Filthy Frank videos. Again, some people speculated here that this could have been a sign of a comeback from either Frank or Pink Eye, but then the songs got inexplicably removed from the account with no official acknowledgement of the situation from any parties. Judging from that situation, it's reasonable to think that the Spotify account probably just got hacked for that time being, and since all of those events that had taken place, we hadn't really heard anything more or have had any updates from any of the Filthy Frank social media accounts. But just because we weren't getting any more Filthy Frank content didn't mean that we wouldn't have other people out there try to replicate his success. Many creators would try to go and recreate that Filthy Frank aura, but to no avail.
Except for one, what's his name, like Filthy Frank 2 or something like that? He did a really great first video, and then he had another video I saw, and that was pretty good too. But eventually he was just like, I ain't feeling
Mainly due to people not exactly being able to capture the essence of what Filthy Frank's content stood for. That, and I don't think that YouTube was necessarily pushing out any of these people's content with the way a lot of them were making their videos. But one creator that did stand out above the rest was this guy. This guy right here that you're seeing is named Eli, and he's ran and currently runs a YouTube channel called EJM, but on the day of March 20th, 2019, he would upload a video titled Filthy Frank Reborn onto a new channel called TV Filthy Frank 2. And this video just about got into everybody's recommendations when it first came out, as the title and thumbnail caught many people's attention and probably fooled a lot of them. Having a good amount of viewers think that this was from the actual TV Filthy Frank channel at first glance. But either way, got them to click and watch the whole thing. And in that video, TV Filthy Frank 2 would unofficially continue the lore of where the original Filthy Frank series left off.
The editing was on point as well.
I'll change it. Shit.
And with the virality of that first video, Eli continued to make content on the channel as if he was Frank himself. And while at first not a lot of people would be 100% supportive of the idea, many decided to give it a chance, and through just uploading videos here and there, TV Filthy Frank 2 had gone on to see what many would say be a successful run with that channel. He created videos based off of the original Filthy Frank content, like the series Loser Reads Hater Comments, and had the Filthy Frank-ass commentary rants, and even made sequels to the more iconic ones like Rat Chef and Hair Cake. Along with these uploads, he would also implement what Joji's been up to into his content, and would also have his own pink eye portrayal. Just like what George had done with his own Filthy Frank channels, this Eli guy would also make music on his TV Filthy Frank 2 account, basing it off of George's pink eye and Joji music. So while TV Filthy Frank 2 was at...
He really running with the joke, man. He's... Damn. I mean, it's very creative, but at the same time, you still are dick riding, but It's a good dick to write on.
Getting onto his catalog of content on his channel, the original TV Filthy Frank account was actually getting some of its videos removed by YouTube. When George had left the channel back in 2017, it had 162 uploads on it, but when you check now, it only has 155 videos available. Some of the more notable videos that got removed by YouTube here were the Cake Trilogy videos that we had talked about, being Vomit Cake, Hair Cake, and Human Cake, and I'm sure you could tell why they got removed. And another one that bit the dust was a video titled People I Hate, which was Frank talking about the types of people that he, well, did not like. And yeah, apparently that was not good enough to be on YouTube anymore. And who knows if any more videos are going to follow. So while unfortunately those videos aren't available on the YouTube platform.
Honestly, when it comes down to YouTube removing this, it's sad to see. And on top of that, I understand why YouTube's doing it. They want a clean image, right? Filthy Frank was so negative that YouTube was basically just waiting for a reason to get rid of him. Like, just delete the content. Like, straight up just delete it. Same thing with EDP445. Like, YouTube did not like EDP's content because of his vulgarness and everything that he did, right? This was before the allegations and the setups and all that, right? But when I remember he got was it 1 million or 100K? They wouldn't send him his plaque because they were like, YouTube, we don't agree with your channel. Sure, you've got the subscribers, but we don't agree with it, so we're not going to send you a plaque. We don't acknowledge you. You know, YouTube 100% would choose not to acknowledge Frank. But at the same time, Filthy Frank, a whole generation of kids grew up imitating, loving, and adoring Frank till this day, right? So I don't think you could really just get rid of it. Like, as bad as it looks, you just can't, because there's a lot of memories behind it. You just can't delete it. I mean, you could, and I'm sure a lot of people would be upset for probably months, all right? Like 2 months, a lot of people would be upset. And then other people would be like, man, fuck it, it's gone. You can't do anything about it. But the other people would still be upset.
Anymore. All the Filthy Frank videos that have pretty much ever been made, including the removed ones, have all been archived beforehand.
Ravioli. What's in the pocket hole?
They have been uploaded to the archive.org website by other people, with little to no worries of those ever being removed from the internet. So don't worry, Filthy Frank fans, history is still being preserved. So with that going on, George has just continued on being Joji, not really worried about what's going on with his Filthy Frank YouTube channel. But while we're talking about the YouTube aspect of everything here, George's 3 main YouTube friends that he collabed a lot with, Max Mofo, iDubbbz, and Chad.
Does Max still make videos? He started making Pokemon videos. iDubbbz kind of stopped making videos after the whole cuck incident. At least that's when I unsubscribed. I was like, look, I don't care about your personal life, but honestly, the content is just not as funny to me. So I just unsubscribed. I don't even know if he makes videos anymore. And I never watched Chad anything for views. The only time I watched him was when they had that podcast with Keemstar and Clown. Baited. The Baited podcast was the only time I ever heard anything. I never checked out his channel or anything. Then isn't this the guy that got a PewDiePie tattoo on his butt?
aka anything for views. Those guys have continued on being content creators on the platform, with Max posting more primarily on his Max Mofo Pokemon account, and also being the co-host of the channel Cold Ones, which is a podcast / talk show that is hosted by Anything for Views / Chad himself. And then with iDubbbz, he has continued to post on YouTube and is now taking the sport of boxing as a future business endeavor. The 3 friends have continued to have relatively successful careers in their own ways, but they have never forgotten about their friendships with George, with sometimes having it happen occasionally. Some of the highlights on the Cold Ones show would be when George would be brought up.
The most asked question was, do you still speak to George?
I spoke to George today. We keep in contact. I'm pretty proud of what George is doing.
George, to me, like, every time I talk to George, it's like, we'll send each other a meme. But we've never had a full-length because we haven't need, like, when you get older, you stop talking to people. You have different lives.
You guys did you've done a whole lot of things with George on that channel.
Well, you've done a lot of things with George.
Yeah. Did. No, we're still friends, but you know, he's in the upper echelon now.
We're still in the lower bracket pits of YouTube.
No.
And then with that, we even had a moment where the Cold Ones crew listened to the, at the time, new Sanctuary song from Joji, and it had Max seemingly look sad while listening to it.
Drink more water, bro.
And then to bring iDubbbz into the mix, just earlier this year, he went on to the Cold Ones show.
That's sad as fuck, bro. Like, He made it. Like those are tears of joy. Like Max Mofo, anything for views, iDubbbz solidified where they are when it comes to YouTube. Joji solidified where he was on YouTube. Joji is the only one to really leave and be successful somewhere else. This is 100% tears of joy. His boy made it. The friend group, you guys are all having fun, chilling, growing up, doing crazy stuff on the internet. One goes off and becomes basically Drake. Like, how can you be anything else besides proud? And it makes me feel a type of way too. Like just seeing him choked up, it's like, damn. My boy made it, bro. My boy fucking made it.
And then to bring iDubbbz into the mix, just earlier this year, he went on to the Cold One show and had brought up his thoughts as to if Joji will ever go on to the show / podcast itself.
How long do you think until we'll get George on Cold Ones?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably never gonna happen. If we harass him enough, maybe.
I think we need to go through a lot of levels of management to get.
How many times have they asked? I mean, that's your boy. Like, and for the branding, the 88 Rising management, they're probably gonna be like, it's not good for like why? But George is probably like, I mean, that's my boys. Fuck it, hop on for 30 minutes. Why not? I mean, George showed up to the podcast on H3, the H3 podcast. He showed up. He was in the background. He was chilling with Post Malone. So George shows up. He's just not on camera. I guess he just doesn't like being on camera. So that's probably the issue. He doesn't want to be on camera. Might be what it is. Might be a George thing. He just doesn't want to be on camera.
George.
But yeah, whether Joji goes on Cold Ones or not, that's just something that we're going to have to wait and see. For now, Joji's public interactions with the group will just have to be seen from his Twitter likes tab, where you can see that he occasionally likes some of Max Mofo's memes. And now, one more thing that some of you are probably wondering about is, now that Joji's this huge artist with millions of fans, most of them being new, do they know about George's past as Filthy Frank?
No.
Or did they ever find out about it? Well,
They
that
don't
question
know.
would be answered in May of 2020, when the hashtag Joji is over party would trend on Twitter after an account
Bro has been canceled plenty of time.
tweeted out they're
Doesn't
shocked
mean
that
anything.
George Miller had said the N-word in a song before and
So
had found it
cares?
offensive. And then
Who cares? Who cares? And this is when we step in, the original Joji, Filthy Frank friends. This is when we step in. Cry about it, pussies. Yeah, he said it. So what? I'm a nigga. You got the N-word pass from me. What you gonna do about it, bitch? You gonna cry about it? Cry about it some more. That's my nigga George. He can say whatever the fuck he want. You just found out about him. I've been known him. I've been known this motherfucker. You just found out. You a rookie. If you can't handle it, get off the fucking court. Let somebody else step in. Fucking fanboy.
And in a somehow
Fuck outta
poetic
here.
way, that had Joji fans that already knew of George's past
Facts.
actions as Filthy Frank mock the new fans
Facts.
that didn't know at all. Fortunately for
Crybaby
everyone
ass.
involved, no one ended up getting canceled here, as
No.
nobody should have been anyways
No.
in the situation.
Fuck that.
But yeah, that was something that happened. And as
Crybaby
Joji's
ass.
fan base grows more and more by the years, one has to wonder if history will repeat itself. But any true supporter of George /
We've been-
Joji's
yeah.
would understand what his intentions were with the Filthy Frank characters and will come to his
Facts.
defense at the end of the day.
Facts.
And that's where we come to the conclusion of the
100%.
Filthy Frank aftermath.
I don't even be on Twitter. Twitter's not a real place. But if for some reason George was getting canceled and I found out about it as a reaction channel, I'm going to react to it. I'm going to defend him. I don't give a fuck. George I've grown up watching him. My past persona was based a lot around the Filthy Frank character. I understand George's comedy. It's dark. It's funny. It's edgy. That was YouTube 7 years ago. If you don't like it, cry about it. Nah, fuck that. I'm ride or die for George. Fuck that.
Of
Not
him
happening.
leaving. Well, at least up to the 5 years that has been since his last video was
Not
uploaded.
happening.
Looking back at the whole thing, it actually
Bro, if fucking Frank, if he wanted to quit music, like say he does get canceled, the record label drops him, whatever. If he comes back to YouTube and just does like talk, like literally talking to the camera, I'll watch it. I will watch it just to support him. Unless he did some crazy shit like murder somebody or touch somebody inappropriately. Then I ain't gonna fuck with that. But if it was like, oh, he got canceled for some old stuff and then the label dropped him, okay, that's totally different. No, like we 88 Rising knew what they were signing up for. Okay, they could have did their Google research and known everything about Frank and all the stuff he used to say before they signed him. If they drop him after because of Twitter peer pressure, nah, fuck that. I would cancel 88 Rising. I'd be like, nah, fuck that. We ain't reacted to no 88 Rising, nothing. Never, never, ever.
It is kind of crazy to see how everything worked out. George's creation of the Filthy Frank character was at an all-time high in 2017, and that's just about the time that YouTube started cracking down on the majority of edgy videos out there, including Frank's. Although George wasn't making much money through YouTube specifically, he did use the experience he got from it to learn about a lot of things, like how people work and what they like and don't like, and he would use that knowledge and experience to up his level in what he wanted in life, which was to create music that he was truly passionate about, and to leave the Frank character and show at a good place on his own terms.
Yeah, it's a great stepping stone. Filthy Frank was a great stepping stone for his music. That's what I said earlier. The Filthy Frank, his music would not be what it is today if it wasn't for Filthy Frank. He made so many different songs, from raps about dumplings, which went hard as hell, to songs that were melodic, and he figured out what people liked. He used us as guinea pigs. He got millions of views per video. So yeah, he drops a song, reads the comments, see the like, the dislike. What do people like? What do people don't like? Oh, I like this part of the song, but I don't like this part. Okay. Other people, this is okay. Let me take this in, put this out. Let's try something else in a month or two from now. Let's drop that after I mixed it, sampled or whatever. Bam, throw that in. What do they think about it now? Bop, 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 boom, bam, bop. Like, okay, great. This is amazing. Demonetization. Okay, I already know how to make the music. I know what people like. Let's go to a record label. Okay, let's hear it. Wow, this is amazing. You have any other past music? Oh, I have music like this, and this. A lot of people like it. Has millions of views, this and that. 88 Rising, money. Welcome to 88 Rising.
To pursue that true music passion was more than likely the best thing that he could have ever done for himself, his health, his career, the fans, and his legacy. The story of Filthy Frank is the story of what one man, George Miller, was able to do for the online entertainment scene and YouTube and internet zeitgeist. And the story of Joji is one that is still being told to this day at a scale that many artists out there would ever only dream of achieving. And as Joji's music and his popularity grow more and more by the years, one has to wonder, will Filthy Frank ever be back? Even if it's just for a split moment? That's a question that many will keep asking until the end of time. But until we get 100% certainty, that TV Filthy Frank channel will keep gaining subscribers that are hoping for a return one day. In the meantime, we can just keep enjoying Joji's work, whether that's his new music or anything else that he did beforehand. And I think that previous work should be appreciated, because
I can only imagine being someone that just stumbles across a Filthy Frank video and is just watching those hundreds of videos that are still there. It's like, damn, this is really good. When's the last time he uploaded? 5 years ago. What? Hit subscribe. Like, oh, maybe he'll drop another video, but these are so good.
Because as Max Mofo put it well, I don't think that we'll ever see another type of content creator like Filthy Frank on YouTube.
I think George got out of the platform at the exact right time. Now, if you were trying to make it as a Filthy Frank on YouTube, you couldn't do it now. You would get completely demonetized and you would get fucked in the ass. He left at the absolute perfect time to do what he's always wanted to do. It's not only that you would get demonetized, you would probably be removed from the site.
Yeah.
So although it might not look like that Filthy Frank will ever come back, some continue to grasp onto this line that was said by Yadaron near the end of the last TV Filthy Frank video.
My child, Francis has been banished to a place far, far away. But he is powerful. He will be back.
Now, while that line can be open up for interpretation, and we obviously would just have to wait and see if it comes true, one thing is for certain, and that is that George has not forgotten about his past filthy persona.
To feel represented by somebody or like a group of people even. And like when I was in Indonesia, I just like remembered what it felt like. What about you, Joji?
Sorry, someone else.
I heard that.
And with that, that will be the end of this video.
Dude, what happened to Rich Brian, bro? Rich Chigga. Bro changed his name too. Bro used to, this used to be Rich Chigga. I don't know who this is. I don't know who that is.
Like,
Rich Chigga definitely grew up watching Filthy Frank. I guarantee you that. But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to see the growth. It's amazing to see where he's at, what he's doing. It's good to see his successes. This is a great video documenting what happened. How many views this is? Bro, this needs to have 1 million views. This is a really great video. Amazing video, man. I loved it. I loved it. It was a great blast from the past. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.